know, but you got to go downtown to either a Trader Joe's or Whole Foods.
Fuck Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
I like Trader Joe's.
I like Trader Joe's. I ain't gonna lie.
White
to you.
women like it too much.
It depends on which
Hang on,
location.
hang
Wait.
Depends on which location.
My God, it's
Jude.
so
You're talking to a
overhyped.
black woman.
Look,
There's a whole Instagram page about black women who love Trader Joe's.
I follow that shit too.
Greetings all and happy Black History Month. Welcome back to your beloved blackly and historically blackly black
I know that's
podcast.
right. I know that's right.
Black, my thoughts so black.
It's the
Exactly. Harlem's very own, featuring as always your three Negro co-hosts. Speaking first, it's Justin K. Winley, aka T'Chilla, aka
I gave him that one.
yeah, you did. Way back, man.
I gave him that one.
AKA Samurai Shampoo, AKA Mr. Ari Lennox, the Shea Butter Baby's baby father, joined by
I know that's
my boy.
right.
Yo, what up? It's your boy, Sinbad Stefanucci, a.k.a. The Middleman, a.k.a. Black Hugh McConaughey, a.k.a. the Honorable Elijah Flo Hamid, Minister of the Nation of Islam.
Oh, wow. Wow. That was good. That was good.
Thank you very much.
And our third mic.
Oh, hello everybody. It's Ahmad Kevin Simmons, aka the Melanated Mac Daddy, aka the Sexy Chocolate Stormbreaker. Okay, I know that's right.
Every time.
Hey, off
How
the
does he do
top
it?
Motherfucker.
of the dome.
It's off the top.
Okay,
Off the top.
Every
Sexy
time.
Chocolate Stormbreaker is.
I know that's right. Come on now. Listen, thank you. We have to do a little handshake for that one, everybody.
Fucking firebender.
We have a lovely guest for you guys today, and she is here to, of course, she is here to bless you guys today, and we would love you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi. I'm Jaleeca Yancy, and AKAs would be JRY Designs. I'm just going to keep it at my artist name.
I know that's
Period.
right.
Period.
Shameless plug.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's what this is all about. That's
Yes,
the
sir.
point of the features series. We're very grateful to have you on here with us. For a little bit of background, I met Jaleeca on a project called Speak Up, Brother. That was a short film written by Roderick Lawrence, directed by our good friend Wes Goodrich. She was the production designer on the project and did an outstanding job.
Thank
Anyone who has seen the film, which I think includes everyone at this
I
table.
have not.
Yeah.
Dang, I'm sorry,
No.
bro.
We got to get you.
Neither of you have seen it?
No.
No,
Oh.
we have
You
the screen. Have a
haven't-
screener?
I do.
Okay, yeah.
Listen, it's really not up to me. It's Wes's
job.
fault. And here's the problem.
Wes
It's-
sent me the link, and I just haven't watched it.
Oh, okay. So
That's
And
on
Wes.
me.
Season.
Do your job.
Yeah. You get the link. You got to click on it.
yeah,
Thank you.
I can
I
only do so much work.
I will happily do so. Okay.
He
But
sends me a lot of shit.
he does. She did an outstanding job, and we're definitely going to talk a little later about what that process was like. But what sparked us bringing you on was your recent work with the Grandscale Mural Project in
Yes.
Harlem.
Yes.
So I'm curious, first of all, for our listeners, a little bit of background about yourself. You're originally from Memphis. Am I correct? So,
Bluff
know-
City, home at the Grizzlies. Yeah, let's go.
So coming from Memphis to New York,
Yeah.
if you want to talk a bit about the contrast in those cultures, and then, how did you get involved with the mural project?
Yeah, so
That might be a big question.
That's
but-
I'm
Huge
gonna keep
question.
it short. How much time do we have?
Yeah, we got it. We got enough time.
So
We got time.
basically, my ancestors. No, I'm joking. No, I was a military kid, so I grew up a little bit everywhere. Memphis was where I was born, and then my dad decided to retire after being like in the Marines for like 28 years.
Okay.
And yeah, he was like,
Is your
I
dad
want to go
David
home.
Goggins?
No, his name is David though.
Wow. He was.
Stay hard.
Yeah,
Is he
Simple
gonna
pie.
carry the boat?
He was carrying the boats, the logs.
I mean,
You don't know me, son.
I'm sorry.
Continue.
but yeah, so he was like, I'm tired and I'm going to retire and I want to be close to my family. So he retired back at home in Memphis. So
That's his shit.
Nice.
yeah, and it was definitely like a whirlwind for me because we moved from Okinawa, Japan to Memphis.
My goodness.
And I was 14 years old and I was like, what's going on? I don't know anything about this culture, right?
So how much time had you spent in Japan?
About 6 years.
Oh,
It was, like,
snap. Okay.
Predominantly, like
This
my
was
adolescent
when
years.
you were like single digits, like
Yeah,
when you're-
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
wow! And
Yeah.
so you started off
This-
in Memphis,
Mm-hmm.
moved to Japan, then came back after.
Well, a few other places before Japan.
Hopped around.
Got it.
That's like what made this journey here to New York
Mm-hmm.
so prominent, because I was so used to moving around. Like, moving to me was simple.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like a new thing for me, you know?
Right.
So like that transition to Memphis helped me understand like more American ways, you know, like being a teenager and then just finding my own lane of things, discovering things I was into. So theater was my first passion for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I played puck and different things, you know, that was probably my favorite character. But I discovered that you could actually do production design
Right.
in theater. And for the longest time I did that, helped out with my like Playhouse on the Square local theater. And then I discovered that I liked art more. So then comes the process of like figuring out your portfolio for college and everything. And I knew I was going to go to college, but I just didn't know where I wanted to study or anything like that. So I decided that I'll just apply for all the schools that are not in Tennessee. And then my parents set me down. They were like, but you're going to school in Tennessee. I said,
Seems to be a disconnect.
I wish that this would have been a conversation.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, fine. They was that if you go to get your master's, you can go wherever else, but let's keep it local. And I was like, okay, fine, that's fair. So I went to Lipscomb University for marketing and graphic design.
Nice.
It's a small Christian college in Nashville. It's not too far from like Vanderbilt and Fisk. And I left Memphis just 3 hours away, went to Nashville, hung out there for a few years. And I graduated in 3 years, and because thank you. You know, I'm proud, but it took a lot of discipline, a lot of study, a lot of focus. But I knew that there was greater things for me. Plus, I already had a job working in corporate and doing marketing, graphic design coming out of college. So I did the corporate world, and I wasn't satisfied. And one thing I've always learned is to listen to my voice really quickly, like listen to my intuition. I'm a creative, so I have to constantly be making things. And I said, the best place to be is New York. So why not? So I sold everything. I had this car. It was a 1996 Park Avenue Buick Classic.
Okay.
Right.
Only
Oh, wow.
like rich white people have this. Okay. I bought it for $500 and I sold it for $1,000. So I flipped it so that I could
Nice.
move to New York.
Flipped it
Basically.
like a brick.
Look
Yeah,
at
you know,
that.
basically, you
Doubled
know,
it.
and yeah, the guy
Double
who
it and
bought
give it to the
it.
next person.
Yeah, no, he
500
made it
to
into like a
1,000.
monster car. Like he like flipped it and turned it into like one of those like, you know how some people like wrap their cars in like
Yeah.
M&M's wrapping and like have the
okay.
rims and stuff on
Yeah.
it. He basically took it and flipped it.
Holy
wow.
shit.
Yeah, so he didn't mind spending the money. Now, this was the crossroad for me. I wanted to go get my master's, and I was going to be in marketing and business, and I wanted to go that route, you know, because I knew that was going to be a lucrative route. I wouldn't have to struggle, you know, but and that was going to take me to Boston for Boston University.
Okay.
And then I decided, I went on a visit. They brought me up to visit Boston, and I had a few friends who lived in New York. And I was like, well, you know, on my way back down to Nashville, let me just slide through New York, hang out. It was the summertime, and I was sold. And I said, I don't care what I have to do. I'll sleep on the couch once I get here,
Came
and
at
that's
the
what I
right
did.
time.
That's what I did. It was perfect. I moved here in 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, and haven't looked back.
Yeah.
It's home now.
Wow.
This is my home. I've never felt like a place was my home, but I feel like New York is my home.
And so that obviously led
Yeah.
to you feeling that you had not only a right, but maybe an obligation to help contribute to the
Yeah.
mural project. in
Yeah,
Harlem?
so I met Uptown Grand Central, who runs the Grandscale Mural Project, a few years ago, right before the pandemic. I was living off of 143rd in Amsterdam, And
Okay.
I'm a big person on like local foods,
Mm-hmm.
you know, going to your community gardens, things like that. And I found them. I looked up like where's my local like CSA or something like that.
Okay.
Like a local foodway where you can just like get fresh produce.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered Uptown Grand Central, and they just been a pillar of the community. I love everything that they do, and ever since then, I think it was like back in 2019, I just been, you know, condoning like everything that they're about and
Mm-hmm.
trying to celebrate them and contribute back to what they're doing for the community. So they had put out an open call. I had just moved back to the city back in 2021 where they did the first Grandscale Mural Project. And they put out an open call. And the whole point of the Grandscale Mural Project, I don't know if you did like any research into it, but it's all about like just beautifying the community basically, and taking like these fences that these corporate companies like just put up, and they haven't. It's like gentrification things. It's like how can we hold off on this property until we have the right type of investors, basically. You know, so they'll just take over land, put up a fence, and
Not allow anything to grow there.
exactly right. And it's an eyesore, right?
Yeah.
Like, and where exactly it is. I mean, I don't know how many of your listeners know like where 125th between what is it, Lexington and 3rd Avenue is, but it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
you
Sure
know, like,
is.
it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
world
That's
of
that
like
456
things
train
happening.
over there. Oh yeah.
M125
If you want to
comes
know
through
what
there, M6,
underground
yeah.
life is like, just walk over there. You'll be fine. Like, you'll
Zombie
see so
land,
many
it's
different
really cool.
things.
Them new trains you was riding on the A line are not coming to the green, bro.
Oh.
Them
Oh,
new
yeah.
trains are not coming
Yeah.
over
But they're
there
not.
Yeah.
because it's too grimy
They will
over there.
remain the
It's
same.
I'm telling you, but it's not in a way like it reminds you to be part of your community because they'll come back. You know, like if you're whatever they're on or anything, like they come back and they recognize like that you're beautifying their neighborhood. And so I'll be out there painting. They're like, "Oh, sis, doing a great job. Thank you so much." You're like, you're helping us. You know,
Yeah.
you're helping us see that we're worth something, right? And I think that's important for your community.
I've lived in Harlem long enough, and I'm sure all of you can remember when that Pathmark was over there.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
brother, man, come on now.
I got a
125th
Brave
Street when it
Little
was
Toaster
just now it's
video
just a
from there.
fucking empty lot over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I remember when my grandmother, she was in that nursing home, which was right by the train station. Well, by where the Metro North is too. And every time we go over there, we'll see Pathmark where it's just like, you know, it was vacant at that point.
Yeah,
But
it
then,
would like slowly
When was that?
deteriorate.
2011. When did that shit fold?
I don't even remember, dog.
2000
pre-pandemic for sure.
2000,
Like officially fold.
Oh, fold was like, I think 2016, 2017. I think
Yeah,
it was when I
up
was in
for a
college.
second, Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was in college, that was when they had closed it all down, and they just kept it there for a few years
It was so
before
derelict.
they tore it down.
It was
They demolished
Yeah.
it in 2021, but I'm trying to
Yeah.
find when it was closed.
It closed in like
2015.
2015. That's
Okay,
when it
so yeah, that was
closed.
close to the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was that was like a prominent supermarket for
Yeah.
Harlem in general.
Yeah.
And then
the
there was a
place?
desert when it was
Yeah.
gone, and now they have the bazaar on on
Food
Third
Bazaar,
Avenue.
yeah.
On the other side.
But see, that's the thing. We always went over to the east side for that specific market. But now that it's not there no more, for most Harlem people, it's like, what's the point?
the East Side don't got shit right now. We just
No, they
lost
don't.
Target.
Yeah.
Yes, y'all dudes.
But
yeah.
isn't Aldi
They
over there?
closed that down,
The
yeah.
Aldi over there is lit. Aldi over there is popping. But like
not gonna-
Target brought everybody from the Bronx
Yeah.
Yeah.
to the from the
To
west
the
side of
terminal
Yeah.
Harlem,
mall, yeah.
all that way to the Terminal Mall.
Yeah.
Like, shit.
It's a shame.
And I know that once they once you know that place gets built, I wonder what they're gonna put there. It might be a mall or it might be a residential building.
It'd
It's
be cool
definitely
if it
gonna
was.
be homes.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh,
think they're
homes
gonna-
for rich people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the way they're setting
luxury
it
homes.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
'cause
the
look what
train's
it's
gonna be
across
right
from
there,
to-
too.
Yeah, the train is
456
Yeah.
Metro North.
And when you
everything.
have it's by the DMV, but it's also they've been restoring some of the storefronts over there
yeah.
by the food bazaar. But yeah.
They
It's
might have
probably
some shops
high-rises.
underneath, but
Yeah.
the
True.
rest is gonna be high rise.
If I see a Victoria's
Lord.
Secret or Tiffany's, I want someone to throw a damn firebomb at it.
Pathmark might come back.
It better. No,
Who
Pathmark as a
knows?
corporation folded.
Yeah.
Oh, period.
Yeah,
They went
like I had a
bankrupt,
homegirl
yeah?
who worked one in Dickman, and
Dykeman?
Dykeman.
Oh my
I
goodness.
hate you for that. Oh, I hate you for that.
yeah, I had a homegirl over there, and she was working at Pathmark. I think in like when I meet her, like 2014, 2015, and that slowly just like folded.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just gone. Like Pathmark as a corporation, gone.
Oh,
What
yeah.
are those stores? I remember when we used to come visit, we would go to Conway. And Conway was my shop.
Conway.
Yes.
Conway was like
Sounds familiar.
Wow.
all the
was a while
clothing
ago.
needs, like apartment needs, home needs that you need.
There's like a superstore.
Superstore.
Huh.
Yes.
And there's a joke like, if you want to have warm clothes, come to New York and buy like all your warm clothes and then go back down to the South.
Uh-huh.
Because you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
Because it's resilient clothing
Yeah.
here, you know?
Yeah.
And Conway was the place to get the affordable,
was.
resilient clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure was.
Yeah.
I forget where it was in Harlem, but Conway was the place to be.
Conway.
Yeah.
And speaking on Pathmark, like now on 145th, right there on 8th Avenue, like that one is Food Town. So
Oh my God, Food Town.
yeah, so now there's no Pathmark no more. It's gonna be either Food Town or Key Food. That's there.
Oh.
But back to what you were
They
talking
have
about
to
with
do better with their grocery stores. So.
that is a whole nother conversation right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Because I am sick of going to those two specific places and not getting what I want.
Yeah.
You know, but you have to go downtown to either Trader Joe's or Whole Foods.
Fuck Trader Joe's.
I like Trader Joe's.
I like Trader
They
Joe's.
do
I ain't gonna
pretty
lie
good.
to you.
Women
They
like
do
it too
decent.
It depends on which
Hang on,
location.
hang
Wait.
Depends on which location.
My God, it's
Jude.
so
You're talking to a
heights.
black woman.
Look,
There's a whole Instagram page about black women who love Trader Joe's.
I follow that shit too.
They put you on. They put
care.
you
Put me
on.
on to that
it's too
shit, bro.
hyped up.
I'm
I'll
telling
meet
you.
you.
No,
It's
it's
too
actually
hyped.
good.
I'll meet you for Whole Foods, right? We all know Whole Foods is
I
like
mean, fuck Whole Foods.
Whole paycheck.
But
That's
Trader
what
Whole
it's
Joe's-
called.
Yes.
Whole page.
Whole
I can literally
paycheck.
have
That is
half of the cart
hilarious.
full, and they're like
That was
150. Wait a minute, 150 just for this shit?
Yes.
Trader
150
Joe's
for air.
70.
You
Exactly.
walk
stepping
in, it's
into the
taxed.
store.
Don't make no damn sense.
I mean, not to turn this into the supermarket review podcast.
But it's good because that's what Uptown Grand Central to help you out here. That's what Uptown Grand Central basically is all about.
Yeah.
It's a layup.
Bringing food to the community.
Yes.
And with that, they're bringing cultural things.
Yeah.
Right. So in our culture, and I'm a big hip hop head, my way into art was hip hop. Right. And so, sorry. Graffiti, bombing the city, like the old traditional way of saying it, bombing the city, tagging your name. That was
Yeah.
one of the pillars, the art form for hip hop.
Yeah.
And so that's what Uptown Grand Central is just trying to uphold, community of the hip hop world, right? Harlem was the epicenter of what does blackness look like as a mecca, right? And so the rest of America always looked to Harlem and Chicago, even parts of LA, to know like this is what it looks like to like uphold blackness and keep us a stronghold. And that's what Uptown Grand Central is like
That's dope.
basically doing.
That is really cool. I'm curious. This is a bit of an aside, but since you talked about the history of graffiti, first of all, it's cool to know that is the specific mural that you worked on because I pass by there a lot and I see the artwork, but I haven't taken the time to really look at it. So next time I'm over there, I'll take a little selfie by
Yeah,
it so you
take
can
a
know I'm there.
selfie. And tag them. They
Yeah,
love that
absolutely.
because it just helps let the world know that the initiatives that they have
Yeah.
going on.
But
Thank you.
when you think about the history of tagging and of graffiti, do you specifically delineate between muralism or graffiti and tagging? Do you see a difference between like what you do, which is obviously like creating full artwork, full pieces, versus just like taking a black Sharpie basically and writing your name on the side of a train, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do you delineate those?
I think there's definitely, I think it's all art, first off. It takes a lot of confidence to take a permanent marker and write your name
Sure.
on that's something that's not your property.
The cojones.
Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, hopefully this doesn't get to the feds or anything, but I've done my amount of tagging.
Okay.
Right? Like,
Can you speak a bit more into the mic?
Yeah. Just go ahead.
Yeah,
and,
got you.
Just go.
We are tapped. We are tapped.
Yeah. So yes, I no.
Keep talking. We got it.
But it's an adrenaline thing.
Yeah.
For most taggers, it's like how often can I tag my name and get away with it?
Right.
And then when it comes to graffiti, it's all about the art style. It's like, what's your style? And over there, you'll see a lot of like old heads that have some graffiti pieces, like in their writing styles, right? So it's just understanding the language between tagging, graffiti, bombing, doing murals, right? I think murals
It's
came
like a
around.
spectrum, you're
It's a
saying.
spectrum, yeah, for sure. And I think they came around because a lot of people weren't appreciating the art style of street art, of graffiti.
Right.
So they're like, how can we take, public art? That's what muralism is all about, is like taking public art and making it accessible, right? And the best way to do it, and the most affordable way to do it, is by bringing murals into your community. So asking artists, right? And most artists, like even a lot of the artists for the project, aren't taggers or graffiti artists or anything like that. Most of them, a lot of the pieces that you see are not even like painted with spray cans or spray paint or anything, right? So a lot of it's like mixed media. A lot of people will use different paints, like outdoor paints, even household paints. A lot of them will use markers. A lot of them will use acrylic paints and then like cover it with like a outdoor varnish so that it can upkeep.
Yeah.
And then like the main ones will use spray paint, right?
Yeah, one of the projects that's been very prominent in my neck of the woods specifically is the Audubon Mural Project. I don't know if you've heard of that. And Ahmad, you've probably seen some of these too if you've ventured a little further uptown and a little further west. Yeah. If you've ever seen paintings of birds along buildings, that's what that is. And I just looked up why it's called that actually, but it's named for John James Audubon, who was he had a collection, a folio of birds of America, and so he lived in this area or in that part of the city, and so the project was meant to honor him by kind of recreating his art.
That's pretty.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So, and there's one literally right on my block. If you're walking from Amsterdam toward Broadway, you're heading to my apartment. The side of one of the buildings has a bird on it. It's very pretty. So it's all over. Yeah. But I think to your point, it felt at a certain point that maybe, I don't know if it was a city government thing or if it was a sort of maybe like a non-profit or maybe a handshake between the two, that the increase of murals felt like an olive branch towards street artists, right? Like we're not, instead of obviously criminalizing it, and we've had a muralist on the show before. Our friend Gia, who painted the Stella Artois mural.
Oh, yes.
That one.
Oh, fantastic.
Right there, yes. So she's an old friend of Jude's, and
What up, Gia?
she communicated some of her experiences with it as well. But that's been my perspective on it, is that it feels like this maybe one of the only times the city's been like, all right, we'll throw you a bone.
They throw a bone, but at that same time, it's like you have to get the licensing, like you have to get the permits and things like that, right? Because the first time that Uptown the Grand Central Mural Project did it is, I don't want to put all their info out there, but basically they didn't have the permits to keep it running.
Yeah.
So this time around, they learned, we got to have permits to keep it running so that they don't get defaced, basically.
Right.
So other taggers come around, they're protected, right? But also protected by the company. So we had all these contracts that we had to sign and things like that. So normally what you can do as a mural artist is like you can go to different storefronts or companies and ask them like, would you love to have a mural done? And you can just propose to them a piece that you want to do. And then the company or the business will be like, yeah, it sounds good.
That's cool.
And that's a great way for artists who want to put their work out there and not get in trouble.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But there is the nitty gritty of bombing the city. That's why it's called bombing. It's like, I'm going to toss up my art piece. And and then all of a sudden the world's going to know my message. Right. And that's the radicalization of hip hop, but also like art It's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to have a message behind everything, right? And so when sometimes the murals sometimes they get misconvoluted into being like, oh, but it's a graffiti piece. Actually, no, it's not, because it was planned and people knew that it was coming for the most part. And that's the big difference. It's like, I want to let the world know, like, I'm here. This is my artist name, but this is what I believe that the world needs right now.
Gotcha.
So cheers to all the graffiti artists still doing it.
Cheers to y'all.
Yeah.
Big ups, big
Tandani.
ups, big ups.
Yeah.
Do you have? I'll open it up. I haven't dominated.
But do you want one?
No, go ahead, Jude.
Okay. How do you define art?
Well, I define it as your own personal, message that you want the world to know, And sometimes that message can even be for yourself. Okay. I think the art I don't think there's really a definition to art, to be real. I think art is by whoever makes it and whoever wants to see it. Some people will look at my art and be like, I don't know if that's art, And then some people will look at it and be like, oh, wow, you have really something to say here. Yeah. And then they'll ask me that question, or they'll ask me about the work. And I'm like, well, it's really up to you. I've done my work for it. I've worked through whatever my process is or anything like that. But yeah, I think it's like beauty, right? It's in the eye of the beholder. Yeah. And art's the same way. It's in the eye of
Then I have a follow-up with that, because I saw this in a video and I wanted to ask her, because I was like, oh, this will be interesting. Would you consider video games art?
Yeah, that's art. Most of the video game artists start in the illustration world, and you go from there. You want to make a comic, and then maybe you're like, well, I actually really like this video game that I have nostalgic playing. One of my favorite video games was Crash Bandicoot.
Respect.
That's a gangsta ass answer.
Okay,
Yes.
I still have it on my Game Boy. So
That's right.
You still have a Game Boy?
yeah,
Okay,
you gotta keep
that's
up with
hard.
your
Still got that.
things.
She had to
DS.
find a way to entertain herself on that trip to Memphis to New York.
Exactly.
But she leveled up all her Pokemon.
Crash Racing.
That Crash Racing was good. Yes, it
That
was.
was a good one. But yeah, I think that video game art is, and I don't think they get a lot of appreciation for being artists, because the amount of talent that you have to create a video game, first off, and illustrate all that first, and then color it, and then animate it in a way that people can actually have live gameplay with it. That's insane.
You're spending months, even like years, designing this shit.
Yes.
So I get it.
It's a narrative. You have to have your imagination. That's also what art is. It's about your imagination, right? And video games have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, there's an aspect, there are aspects of certain things like video games, like film, where art and technique, or art and science, become almost indistinguishable. Even in combat, they talk about boxing as the sweet science, but then they could also say the art of boxing. Like, when something is done at a very high level, people love to describe it as either an art or a science, almost interchangeably, because of the proficiency with which it's done. So in something like video games, when you have the collaboration between storyboard artists and between writers and directors and obviously animators and then voice performers, all these different crafts coming together. Yeah, definitely.
And the other cool part about the video game thing was, I was watching it on Wisecrack, which is where I got the question from, is they said that film is art, but it's only one-sided, But with video games, you have more autonomy.
You're a participant.
You're a participant in the interaction with the art. So you are being creative in what you do in the game. So particularly right with the increasing popularity of open world sandbox type games, where Grand Theft Auto and shit.
Right, Grand Theft Auto, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom.
All these custom
Skyrim really is what started it way back when, but
true.
And customizations and mods and all that stuff
with all these Tekken characters with the fades and shit,
Bro.
looking like Drake and Sean Paul. Yeah, it's
Jean Paul.
Really moving towards making more of a personal statement, even on something that was created by other people.
Yeah, it's collaboration, honestly, and
Right.
that's what all art needs
Yeah.
most of the time. Like the amount of art that I make, there's always some type of collaboration happening.
Yeah.
Right?
It's interesting. I was going to say, now that I'm thinking of it, based on what you two have said, video games are maybe the only like art form that allows the recipient to collaborate
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
Like when you paint something, you're not inviting people. Well, I'm sure some people could do and maybe have done this, like inviting people to add to the painting.
Yeah.
Sure, you could do that.
Yeah.
You don't put a painting in a gallery and have other people like put it down a line.
Right. That's what. Yeah.
Or do something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless
But I
that
will-
you wanted to, unless that was the point of the exhibit.
Yeah. I will say that in art, at least my approach to it is that I think that the viewer is participating, whether or not it's a live action or if it's a gallery piece,
Within
right? Because it's all about the narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I can say what my narrative is, I can write it on the wall and you see it, right? And you can read it. But at the end of the day, your imagination's going to spark when you see my work. So you can go to any world that you want to when you're looking at art. That's the collaboration. So then they're going to see this work and they're going to be like, oh, wow, I saw this, figurative piece that was all about Black history and uplifting our voices and things like that. And they're going to share that with someone and they're going to go look at it and they're going to pick up something
Have a
else.
different
And they
perspective
keep
on it.
adding and adding and adding. And that's what video games do as well. They get
Little
better
ripple
and better
effect.
and better
Yeah.
every time they have users play it, right?
It's funny you say that because the one example that comes to my head, and it's just been playing in my head, was Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales, and they had hundreds of artists put their own twists into
movie.
each frame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And even with the
Oh, that was
characters,
crazy.
bro, I was just amazed as to them even doing that and how many years they have spent on creating that film. But go ahead.
Even more so in the sequel, right? Which like
That was
to the point
crazy.
that every character's world, like Gwen's world, is this watercolor, like
Yes.
Right.
like they've got these weird like interpretive graphics that pop up behind her in the background, and then obviously Miles has
Punjabi
that, like,
Spider-Man was it was like
he had like almost a collage, like paper collage kind of world.
Who? Evil Miles?
No, Punjabi Spider-Man.
Punjabi Spider-Man. Yeah.
I forgot the version of Peter Parker that his name was, but
his
yeah,
name too, yeah.
Indian Spider-Man, and then obviously Miles's world, which we were already familiar with. It's just, I mean, we have a friend, Amir, who thinks that animation is like the ultimate art form. Period. And I think what animation can do is it offers. It has freedom. It has a visual freedom that no other form necessarily has, because it can take the expression of a painting, but then it can make it move.
Yeah.
And it could give it life in a way. And then obviously you can't mimic that kind of expression, that boldness in live action, which offers different assets of its own. But yeah, so to exactly your point, the incorporation of all those different artists and the way that
Damn.
New York is angry.
Somebody is in a mood
It's Super
today.
Bowl Sunday. People are trying to get home.
yes.
Exactly. Ursher. Go ahead.
Ursher. But the ways in which the artistic community was brought in to help to collaborate and make something beautiful.
Yeah.
Notwithstanding that there were some stressors about the CG artists, the
Yes.
VFX artists having enough
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
to do the thing and get it done.
Exactly.
That's from the other end, the studio end of things, when you're dealing with deadlines and whatnot.
And that's the thing. Animation takes forever.
Yeah.
I just recently seen Boy in the Heron.
I heard that was good.
and
Oh, how was
It was immaculate.
Oh my goodness.
But
That's-
some
he's the
people-
master.
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about animation, he has to come up. But the thing about it is, a lot of people were coming for him because he actually used, some technology this time to help
to assist
animate.
him,
Right. And normally he doesn't. But I mean, this is a 80-plus-year-old man, right? Like
Yeah.
his studio, he has to get some things cranking out
Yeah.
sooner rather than later now.
I watched his documentary too. This is Hayao Miyazaki, the director of Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle, for those listening who aren't
I didn't know
aware.
about his documentary.
Yeah.
But
He has a
it's pretty
documentary
good.
called The Never Ending Man. And it's a lot of it is him just being like, I kind of hate doing this, but I can't stop. So like it's him complaining about the
yeah.
process and talking about how the industry has changed and the art form has changed. He's still dedicated to animating by hand, drawing out everything. But yeah, like you said, I mean, you know, not that like anyone's age prohibits them from doing anything, but it does mean you have to adapt.
Exactly.
And yeah, listen, this guy has been a champion for a specific kind of animation for his entire career. If he is deciding now that he needs a little bit of assistance to get something done, he's the last person you should be criticizing.
Right.
Exactly.
He's not some dude on YouTube. I'm recreating Hayao Miyazaki with AI.
Right.
You know, that's a totally different situation. How do you feel about AI art now that we've brought it up?
I know. I knew it was going to come up.
It was either going to be me or Jude who
I was
asked
not going to do
It's-
it.
No?
Nah.
Were you going to ask?
That was not gonna be on the top of my head. I was gonna talk about your artwork, but go ahead.
I think AI is cool. You know, I think you have to decide how you want to use it.
It's a tool, right?
It's a tool. I use it. I like ChatGPT. It's great. It helps me write a lot of my applications for art.
Rants.
You know, you got to just get your thoughts out there. And sometimes as an artist, we get in our minds and we can stay on the same paragraph and say the same, you know, convoluted words every single time to describe your practice.
Yeah.
And
You need
AI
something to help
helps
break
with
that
that.
pattern.
Yeah.
Sure,
To help you see like, oh, I have a routine of my writing style. Help me fix it. Right? And sometimes, especially for artists myself, like you need help. So I don't have the means to hire certain people.
Right.
So I have to develop a lot of the things myself. So for example, I have a mural or I have a sculpture coming up and I have to propose it, right? But I can't afford to render out my proposal, basically. So what I'll do is I'll go to use AI and I say, here's my prompt. This is my idea. It's not saying that's not my idea once I get it generated from AI. And AI is just taking everything from the internet, which I think is mind-blowing, first off.
Yeah.
That there is a system that can take everything that's in the world and make
Funnel
it into
Yeah.
what you're thinking or your idea, right? That's insane. Who knew? You know, like we would get here. Back to the Future dreamt of this,
Basically.
and like we're here now.
In 2015,
Right?
it'll
Exactly.
be the future. Hoverboards.
Yeah, we
I think
don't have
it's cool.
those.
I wish we
I
need
wish
to.
too.
But yeah, I think it's part of the wave, and sometimes you can fight it or you can get on board. It's up to you.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not missing out on anything if you don't, and I think it's just going to add to what your repertoire is already if you do. But just be careful with it, you know, like just know what you're using it for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like most of the time people, they use AI and half of the people would just be fucking around with
Yeah.
it. They just be, you know,
Seeing what they can do.
just, you know, conjuring up some type of piece.
Yeah. Cat floating in space with
Something.
tuna cans.
I love
You're
it,
Like,
you
what?
know?
This is
Yeah,
nice.
Dragon Ball Z in 1940s noir.
Yeah.
You know,
like, yeah.
I think
LA.
it was that one trend that was on Instagram where everybody was posting how they would look in like a 90s
Oh my
yearbook.
God. Yeah.
And that was just that was everywhere. That
Now,
was
see,
really
that's
everywhere.
where I get annoyed. You know, like, it's like
You
every
look the
celebrity is gonna do it.
Right,
Come on.
right, exactly.
We get it.
No, I definitely agree with that, and I have yet to explore AI
Try it out.
in
See how you
itself.
like it.
But I know that people who use like ChatGPT, like we were saying, and I've yet to just be like, let me see what this is all about. And you know, you feel like it can be used in many different ways, like whether it's, you know, for just to fuck around and see what you can, like, you know, put out crack your ass, but you know,
Yeah.
but some
Language
people-
practice I've used it for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've used it to
Yeah.
help me practice, like Spanish or whatever, or
Yeah.
suggest. Some people use it to suggest dietary whatevers, or, you know, there's.
I used to make workout programs.
Really? That's fire. Wow. No, I mean it's with artwork, it can be many different things.
Yeah.
Even with that, but speaking of artwork, yours is fucking amazing. I just gotta say,
you.
I've been looking.
Appreciate it.
I was talking with the guys before you came here, and one of your illustrations, I cannot keep my eyes off of it. It's the one where a black woman is, she is biting into a certain fruit.
Oh, an apple.
That one is fucking dope.
That's so funny. I love that you like that piece.
yeah. For first glance, I was like, I am immersed in this. Like, if you do you like often like sell your illustrations, or do people? Okay,
He's putting a bid in.
I know.
I am on the podcast. On the podcast,
I got you. Yeah, just talk to me after. I got you.
Yeah, it could be. And another thing we can talk about afterwards is involved with a tattoo.
Yeah,
coming soon. But
yeah.
You want to get that? I saw what you
The
were
third
looking
one.
at. I saw.
What
What
you
are you talking about?
You don't know what I wanted. You don't know.
I
You don't know a goddamn
You
thing. No. With
Nah,
these
that's
here,
a
like,
little
do you often like have people come to you to try to
wanted a
like
sword out here.
they give you certain descriptions as to what they should have their tattoo look like, and you like would say,
It's in my trap.
maybe I can like tweak this in a way, like have
Yeah.
have you had some like had somebody pay you to draw a tattoo for themselves before?
I have. It's it's daunting. First off,
I'm sure, because you're like, okay, this is what I would feel this
Right.
should look like.
You know?
And
Yeah,
do you have any tattoos?
I have 2.
Okay,
Yes.
tattoos.
I have none.
I have 5.
Okay, I have 6. Yeah.
Nice.
Fire.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And my brother's a tattoo artist, actually. He has his own
Fuego.
tattoo shop
In
in Memphis,
Memphis?
Tennessee. Ink Therapy.
Shout him out.
There you go.
Ink
David
Therapy?
Yancy. Yeah.
Got it.
Yes.
That's how I got into doing graffiti, actually. And
Wow. Is your
whole
It was
family?
my brother. Yeah, my whole family is creative. They're just a creative family.
I was thinking of this in the beginning, because you were saying, your dad was just in the Marines for 28 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, before he joined and all of that, how did you even get that
This
Yeah.
imagination I
Yeah.
have. Yeah.
Like,
They
what
help
made you
foster
start?
it. I have amazing parents, you know?
Wow.
Like they're creative folks. My dad played saxophone for the
Fire.
longest in high school.
Wow.
And, he just always wanted us to just pursue what we wanted, you know?
Mm-hmm.
In retrospect. So, you have to have a plan.
Yeah.
Right. And he always believes that you can have plan A to Z.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that comes with education, that comes with knowledge, that comes with training, whatever it is. Right. Go for it. And if you're going to do it, put all yourself into it. Right.
Yeah.
My mom was an interior designer and just all around creative person. Right. And she passed away
Oh, I'm so sorry.
about 6 years ago. So her anniversary of that's coming up. But it's they fostered in us something that I wish that many families do for their Black children.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, it wasn't always easy because you have to show up in it.
Of course.
But they love like film and TV and like arts, and we didn't go to a lot of museums growing up. We went to like a lot of like natural history and science museums, but not a lot of art museums.
Yeah.
All that to be said, they allowed us to pursue our passions. But we had only 2 choices graduating high school. You either go to the military or you go to college,
I'm sure.
you know?
Yeah.
But within that, we got to make our own choices, you know?
That-
And I think ultimately that's what parents are supposed to do. Is
Yeah.
kind of help guide you in a way so that you become a responsible person in society, adult in society.
Yeah.
And then you go from there and you make your own decisions, right?
I think, and correct
But
me
yes,
if I'm wrong.
get your tattoo made
and
and buy a great artist and be very, very picky about the artist that you get to do the tattoo first off, as you probably already know, but also to who makes it, and really have that consultation with your artist and be
Yeah.
like, this is what I'm vibing with, you know?
Yeah.
And then have that artist do a consultation with the tattoo artist to make sure that they can do the tattoo.
Yeah. No,
Yes.
definitely. Thank you for that.
Yes, you're
Thank you for that.
Anytime.
I because I wanted to dive more in that, because I know it, because you told us you grew up in a military family, but I don't know if you have know anybody else or any of your friends that grew up in military families that they've do you think like they've gotten that option before they went to college, saying that you either pursue your dreams or you're going straight to the military? But I know that when people go to the military, they can always pursue their dreams afterwards.
Yeah. You can join the reserves, do 4-year track.
Yeah.
Get college paid for.
Yeah.
All those things, right?
Yeah.
The funny thing about being a military kid is, especially if you move around a lot, you don't keep up with a lot of people, especially at the time, like I was growing up, like MySpace and having an email and things like that was just becoming a thing. So you didn't really keep up with your friends unless you had their phone number. And that was probably going to change in 2 to 3 years, right? Or you write them or whatever. So I would say most of the people that I talk to that have come from military backgrounds, I've never heard them say what my parents gave us, right? I think we were my parents didn't raise us to be in the mindset of the military, but at the same time, my dad used the military as a way of shaping us at the same time. Because he was a drill sergeant for many years in his military career. And I can tell, like, especially as I've gotten older, how he used some of these practices to help us become the men and women that we are, right?
Yeah.
And in that, I think that him being a black father too helped in the raising of us, because there's some troubled military kids, like
oh my God.
For sure.
And you can easily fall into a lifestyle that can like be kind of tough and really hard. And growing up in the military, like base, and I had a lot of friends that went through things, different types of lifestyles. And I don't think a lot of people realize, like, being in the military, you're surrounded by the most eclectic, diverse group of people ever.
Yeah.
And you have to accept these people, right? If you don't, you're going to have a problem, basically. And so you just learn quick that I just have to I have to raise my family for myself, basically. And that this is just part of our community, right? And so I was raised in the church too, so we had the church that helped us as well, and raising us, right? And they always put preference on like being parts of like Black community as much as possible, but also showing us to other communities as well. So yeah, I think that the choice of them telling us like community or college or military, I think that was the only time I've ever heard that. I've never heard anyone else be like, yeah, I only had that choice as well, right? Because I feel like some people just know college.
Right.
And most parents don't want their kids to go to the military.
Right.
No.
Especially after 2001. They're like, oh no, I don't want my child.
My mom
to
was a big advocate of that.
What's up with that?
I don't remember.
All of a sudden, we had to take our shoes off at the airport.
I remember one time I
Everyone's
told my
acting so
mom
weird.
that I said, "Hey, Ma, I just thought about going to the Army," and she was like, I thought about you getting kicked out of my house. That's crazy. That's really crazy.
What's funny is you would already be out of the house because you're off to camp. So
I would be.
Exactly.
Exactly.
real quick, just to mess around with it.
Yes.
Project Pat or Juicy J?
Oh, well, okay. Damn. You're going to do that to me? It's 3-6
That's a
Mafia
good
all
one,
I
day.
don't care.
Oh.
I ask the hard questions on this show. That's me. I ask the tough questions.
Oh,
I
my goodness.
I will cause gray hairs.
No, we don't,
I will stress you out.
We don't separate.
We're not separated,
In
but
the
who
South.
do you just prefer to listen to?
I mean, I think Project Pat is actually a genius when it comes to like
His flow.
his flow, and Juicy J is an amazing producer, right? Like
He produces?
like that's his bread and butter.
I thought it was
basically.
DJ Paul.
No, Juicy J,
Oh, I'm bugging.
is a producer, but he also is a rapper too. They all rap, they all spit, but
that's Juicy J's.
that's Juicy J's like bag.
God.
Oh, never mind.
Like that's like people
okay.
call on him. Oh, that's good. You don't have to know Memphis history. No, I'm joking.
Damn.
Damn.
That was a gag right there. She gagged
so
the
sorry.
fuck out of here.
Gangsta Boo and Glorilla, but Gangsta Boo passed on. RP to
Gangsta
the
Boo
God.
always. I'm sorry.
Yo.
And Glorilla wouldn't be where she's at without Gangsta Boo.
I love Gangsta
R.I.P.
Boo.
Gangsta Boo. That type of rapping, though, is very tough
Yes.
for a lot of people to listen to.
Yes.
Because it's,
I don't see how.
well, the
Hey.
situations that she was living in is like,
Oh, it's grimy.
it's real. It's raw.
Oh, no doubt. But it's
and she's not afraid to tell the world, like, this is my lifestyle.
yeah.
And that's a lot of like Memphis folks though too. Like you hear it in like Moneybagg Yo and like I like him. But
He's solid.
in Glorilla, like I feel like she's finally starting to get in her bag a little bit more, and like I want her to actually like talk about her life and like really spit for us because I know she can do it. But yeah, I like Glorilla. I like what she's doing for our neighborhood, you know.
Are y'all from the
Yeah.
same area in Memphis?
South Memphis, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
fire.
I'm from South Memphis.
Dope.
Jaleeca, you've done a number of residencies in your artistic career, and I'm always curious, you know, what is it that residencies you feel offer you uniquely that helps advance your artistry?
Residencies allow you to really just forget the outside world and just tap in to like whatever you want. The possibilities are limitless. The only limit is yourself that you put on yourself, basically. And most residencies come with like a certain type of like syllabus, some things that you have to meet, right? Which helps, right? It's like going back to school, honestly. Like if you choose to do residencies, I think you should go in knowing what you want to achieve. And every time I've done successful residencies, by the end of it, I've come out an even better artist. It helps shape you as an artist, I believe, because you get to work with people who are masters of their craft or masters of the art world, in a sense, right? They have an understanding of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve or where you're trying to get. And I think that residencies are a gateway into an evolution of an artist, honestly, in my experience. And I just pray I continue to get to do more, because it's either I continue to do residencies or I go get an MFA in art. So I think I like the residencies because I'm a bop around person. I like to be around different things.
Right,
you know?
which makes sense given, that you grew up.
Move around a lot.
Yeah.
It sounds like being like a monk to me. Kind of like
It honestly is. You have to like.
you're in a little bit of an isolation. Just when you said you're stepping away from the outside world,
Yeah.
and you're just kind of going within to then display it in your art.
Yeah. No, you have to have some. I think every artist or everyone that pursues anything, right? Like you have to refine your skills as much as possible.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about having space dedicated to just only that, right? Especially in our world with like things are happening, like you need a time to just escape being an adult, but also like living in the world too.
Yeah.
And the responsibilities that comes with. So, I always tell artists, like, try to get residencies that are diverse. It doesn't matter. Like, if they don't offer you a stipend, just try to save up if you can so that you can buy your supplies or get to know other artists and other art organizations. Bless up to all the artists and art organizations that's helped me down to get materials. Knowing about places like Material for the Arts who offer like free art supplies. Different nonprofit organizations can sign up for that do like art programs or anything like that. Can go and get just a plethora of free art supplies, basically.
Wonderful.
But knowing that and knowing those things and knowing like how you're going to support yourself in these residencies is an important thing. So that's the planning part of some things. Now, some residencies do offer you more than that. They offer you travel, stipends, meals, everything that you need. And then some don't. But it doesn't mean that it's not an opportunity. And I think some people get so like weighted down by like what an opportunity means.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that like money doesn't have to be at the root of all of it. Like
Yeah.
you have to, discern for yourself, like, what do I really want to take away as an artist in residencies?
It's difficult, when you feel like you have to make hard choices, and especially when you are a creative person, you've spent a large amount of your life hearing from people that like, well, that's not gonna keep the lights on.
Yeah.
So
Gotta come with a plan B.
right.
Yeah.
So like you are
Hated that
always
shit
looking
so
for
much.
paid artistic opportunities, and of course they do come, but there is a period of proving ground.
Yeah.
And there's a period where maybe you do have to dip into the monastic and kind of retreat and maybe you're only eating cup noodles for a few weeks while you work on this whatever it is, or while you're banging out these self tapes if you're an actor, or
Because you're locked in.
yeah.
You're locked in. You know exactly where you need to be, and you won't stop until it's finished.
No.
You won't stop until you feel like you're secured. You love what you put out in this specific piece. Just mainly we're talking about like painting, or because I'm thinking about one of my friends right now. She's putting together 6 pieces for this event that she's in, and she's been hammering out from day one.
Yeah.
She's like, look, I may be getting like 4 hours of sleep every single day, but this shit is getting finished.
It's important.
She was like,
It's important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's up to her. I hope she gets it done.
I'm gonna let you know about it too.
Yeah.
She wonderful person.
Always support.
I'm curious, earlier when you mentioned the participation, the conversation between artist and consumer art viewer, and you talked about how interpretations obviously can be different and perspectives yield different ideas and can build on each other. Do you believe that every interpretation is valid? Do you believe that there's a point where you as the artist can say, no, that is definitively not what this piece represents?
Yeah, I think definitely.
Okay.
Because some people, especially when it comes to Black art, for some reason, they want to make it more than it actually is, right? And sometimes I allow my narratives to just be a beautiful narrative and not be rooted in this Blackness, right? But at the core of it, I'm a Black woman, so obviously that's going to be in it.
Right.
And if you try to misconstrue it in any other way to make it seem like it's more than what it is, or a narrative that's affecting my Blackness and my womanhood, then I have a problem.
I was just having this conversation with Wes a few months ago because we were talking about Palm Sunday and some of the reception to it early on when it was coming out. And it felt like, I said, I think especially in a post Get Out filmscape, there has become an instinct to try to find the what the thing is saying, or the moral of the Black art, because it must be telling me something, especially if the me is like a white audience. Right. It must be telling me something about myself. And I don't know if you've seen Palm Sunday.
Yeah, it's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, y'all are Oscar qualified now?
Oscar qualifying, yes. Oscar
yes, that's amazing.
You don't tell me shit.
I posted it online. I thought
yeah,
you did post
it's a
it.
big accolade.
Now that one I saw. Now that one I saw.
that one in theaters.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Twice.
Yes.
But that movie, obviously, it's a movie that's set in 1970s in the South in America.
Yeah.
It deals with segregation, or the story involves segregation. It talks about assimilation or whatever. And I think because of all of that, sometimes people see it and they're like, wait, so is this movie saying X or
Is it
Y
a
about
commentary
segregation or
on-
whatever?
yeah.
It's like not necessarily. At the heart of it, it's a story about this person in this time
Right.
and what he's going through. And
and that should have as much weight as it would the social issue that you're trying to put.
that you're trying to find. Yeah. So it's very refreshing, actually.
Yeah.
Not just, almost vindicating to hear you say exactly what was in my mind.
No, I think a lot of our community is going through this, though, honestly, because I think at the end of the day, we just want to create,
Yeah.
and like know that it's for creation's sake.
It's part of what that movie American Fiction talks about.
Which is a
What you guys are
fantastic
about to
film.
see.
I don't know how y'all feel about it.
Yeah,
but
we out.
It's,
I've
it's
seen
good.
it. We're gonna find the time to see it.
Good. Go
Yeah.
watch it. I think a lot of people feel some type of way because there is some type of classism in it, but it
As
should
far
be
as
a
the black
topic
art
of
conversation, it was I think pretty well done.
it's necessary. I think we have to have these like transparent conversations
Tough
within our
talks.
community.
Tough talks. Hashtag
Yeah.
tough talks.
And it needs to happen in the art because that's the only place people can actually receive it.
Right.
A little bit of sugar with the medicine.
Exactly.
I'm being entertained by this movie about a giant shark. Oh, it's actually about
I mean,
The
like,
waterways.
Pollution. It's not always like, not every art is sugar with the medicine. Sometimes it's straight medicine.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have my niece and nephew, and I love them. I love you kids, but sometimes you're y'all children. Y'all know how children are.
Yeah.
Yes. We
And I'm like, I need to traumatize these children.
Jesus Christ.
No, like for real.
He's been asking me what movie to show them that will shock them into a state of maturity, I guess.
And
Into a
what
state of
type of maturity, though?
Like Hotel Rwanda.
Oh, well, that's
That's
a good
not very
one.
entertaining. There's no sugar in that shit.
No.
Or like the boy in the
I
striped pajamas
think-
or something.
No, I think you just
They're
go
6
with
and
the
8.
classic roots. Like,
I didn't even see that.
you need to watch
Well, then
Roots.
all of y'all need to sit down and watch this shit.
Yeah.
Like all of
Is
y'all.
going through this
Because
with you
that's
guys.
what did it to me.
Yeah.
Listen, I went to a
Yeah.
baby funeral.
Took my ass
I'm-
out.
As soon as I could read and comprehend, my mom was like, all right, now you sit down, you're going to watch this.
Even as a kid, I
The
was
full
like, oh,
series.
what
too.
actually?
Yeah.
The full series. How old were you?
What?
I was, I think I was about 11.
What
Yeah.
were the movies like that? What were the movies that y'all had to watch that your parents were like, okay, sit down, watch this, and you're gonna learn?
Amistad for sure was one.
I did see that.
I haven't seen
It's
that.
pretty intense.
I don't think it was really like that. I know it's ironic because I'm an actor, but I don't think it was really like that for my parents. I can't
I didn't grow
recall.
up thinking like I'm turning my son into a thespian.
Right? No, I know, but
yeah.
I,
It wasn't
there,
like
I
that.
can't remember like
No, it wasn't
I can't remember a moment where it was like, oh, listen, you're gonna. I mean, maybe just like Bruce Lee stuff, like maybe like Enter the Dragon, but just because like it's you got to know like this is Bruce Lee, and my dad was a martial artist, and he grew up in the 70s and the 80s, so Bruce Lee was a superstar to him. Other than that, I mean,
And your mom just showing you Michael Bay movies.
my mom actually was the first person to show me, and I don't even know if it was intentionally, but I watched John Carpenter's The Thing with her for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And that's one of my favorite movies to this day.
That
And my
movie
mom
is
doesn't even like horror
so
movies,
good.
Yeah.
but she was just like, well, here it is.
Right.
Just
Wow.
watching it with her. So
See.
Love that movie.
I don't know.
I think for me when it came to knowing about black movies, like blaxploitation movies, like it came out of nowhere for me being I would say at the age of 11. No, even earlier, like 8 to 13. I saw Boomerang. I saw a Meteor Man. Boomerang, one of my favorite movies. Meteor
You and my sister
Man
will be
with
best
Robert
friends.
Townsend. Yeah. I literally had that movie on VHS,
Yeah.
and I can't even count on my fingers how many times I watched that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the intro with Michael Jackson's "I Can't Let It Get Away from the Dangerous" album. Just starts it off in DC. You know, it was such a wonderful movie as a kid. And then from there, I saw Hollywood Shuffle with Ken Ivory Wayans and Robert Townsend. Just like
Yes.
being around black movies. Even I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, but back to Robert Townsend, not even one of my favorite movie of all time, The Five Heartbeats.
Yes.
We still gotta
And
watch that.
Class.
Bro, when I tell you I love that movie from start to finish.
Do you think it's better than the Temptations movie?
Fuck yes. oh, I will say that with my chest. I will say that with my whole
I
chest.
imagine both of these movies, both of these discs are in my home, and I haven't
Same.
watched either of them all the way through. But I think the benefit that The Five Heartbeats has is that it's about the Temptations without being about the Temptations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you're inspired by something, but you don't have to feel adhered to their actual life,
Right.
then you can take more liberty, right?
Yeah.
So I think something like the Five Heartbeats, which explores some, aspects of something like, a group like the Temptations or any number of Motown groups, it can kind of make a big little gumbo out of all that stuff.
Yeah.
But and you know what's so crazy? It's like the one thing I do love about the Five Heartbeats, and it's not just, and I do agree that it's it revolves around the inspiration from the Temptations itself. They didn't need to say, hey, this is actually like my story, like it's what I picked off of watching the Temptations. Like this is how I feel. This should be like I created this group in myself. No, it's just. Robert Townsend and Kevin Ivory Wayans, they sat down and they were like, okay, we're going to create a movie that is about a black group in the 60s wanting to make a come up. And we're going to pull these, we're going to grab the Dells. We're going to grab David Ruffin to give us the the thumbs up to have us have this green light for this movie and create songs that people still love to this day. And I still love A Hard as a House of Love. I still love, I saw that song so much. Nothing But Love. And even with other groups that are in that movie, it's just something that makes me go back to it and say like, damn, you really created a black classic that even
a black classic within a black classic.
Yeah.
You created a black classic music group.
Yeah.
And then made a movie about them.
Yes. That even people
That's
with the
crazy to
higher
think
ups
about. He made
in
a musical.
Hollywood.
They made a musical.
They made a
Yeah.
fucking musical,
They don't
bro.
get that credit.
It's so good. And like when people say like, oh my God, I fucking hate these movie musicals. And like, yeah, they see it now. Like nowadays when people make movie musicals, you're like, oh my God, here we go again with another motherfucking one. But then you go back to 1991 for the Five Heartbeats, you go, you didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
You know what's so fucking funny? I didn't even think of that till
it's-
right now. I was like,
I think back then it was better because a lot of even the Disney movies were musicals in it too.
yeah.
And them shits
a musical
carried
time.
weight. Now they don't. I don't know why they don't. I mean, I'm not a musical, watching musicals kind of a person, but just from what I've heard, like two things that are popping off on top of my head, but they're mighty white and, mayonnaise. Is Cats and the new Mean Girls joint.
I did see that shit.
I heard them shits were not good.
It was a bit bland.
Why would you do that
their
to
skin.
yourself?
I saw
You
it.
knew I was going
I
to.
saw it with friends, and they like, oh, we need to see the Mean Girls musical, and then one of my other friends, she wants to see it for her birthday, and she's gonna rent out the movie theater.
Rent out the theater.
Yeah, it's
I love you,
actually
bestie.
very
I love you,
affordable.
but we're
Yeah.
gonna see
Yeah,
this
it's like
again. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's with Renee Rapp, who was in the
Sex Lives of
Broadway
College Girl,
version.
and that one too.
Yeah, and she's doing this again. Great voice and all that.
Wonderful singer. She is.
Wonderful
She's
singer.
fire.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about movies,
Yeah.
I'm going to dovetail it back towards you, Jaleeca.
Okay.
Production design. It is very enlightening to hear that your mother was an interior designer,
Yeah.
because obviously these two things go hand in hand. But
The jeans.
was
Simi.
Speak
Can't
Up
help
Brother the first production? Well, no, because you've done some theater. You've
Yeah,
done some,
yeah.
okay. So I guess I'm curious about, for someone who's
My
a
timeline.
layman,
Yeah.
not even just the timeline, but what is production design comprehensively, and what is your approach to it, and what do you feel is your signature, right? Because
Yeah.
actors are approached because they can do a certain thing.
Right.
Production designers are approached because hopefully they can curate a specific look. So what do you think that is for you?
I think the most important thing about production design is allowing the space that surrounds the actors to be as a character itself. And then I just basically lean into what that character is, whatever location or background that is. I just try to make a narrative within that. So I want to know everything. And when I talk to directors, and I'm like asking like, well, tell me more about this character's home, for instance, or the therapist's office, or the club that they frequent, just Speak Up Brother. But I started in production design out of accident, actually. When I moved to New York, I was in the art world trying to figure it out. And I just was kind of transversing like in spaces that different art communities had. And I joined this collective randomly on Facebook when, you know, there was Facebook collectives.
Oh, yes.
And they were thriving. They were thriving.
Yes, they
at
were.
Some point.
At a certain point, it was like 2016 to 2018.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I was working. And that's how I got into like this world of film and TV, but also production design, again, for theater and for black box shows and different performances and stuff like that. So I joined a collective. And I think I was like, I really needed some money. And I was like, I could do anything at that point, right? So I said I was a carpenter.
Oh.
I'm not a carpenter.
Okay.
Okay. I know how to use some of the tools, barely.
You just know how to use a screwdriver. You'll be fine.
That's exactly. I was like, I could do this. So basically, the collective reached out. They were like, oh, hey, so we have like this immersive performance experience that we want to put on. We're looking to build these things, but also the place that we're using, the guy, he needs someone to like outfit this like staircase in order for us to use the space. So we said, whoever we bring on, they can fix the staircase for you, right? 2-for-1 deal. I was like, yeah.
Absolutely. Google's how to fix staircase.
Exactly. I said, give me the manual. I know how to count. I know my math. That's all it is. That's carpentry, is knowing math.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I basically did that, and they loved it, and they continue to like use me for production design. And I didn't know I was doing production design.
Right.
That's the thing. They didn't like
you were accruing
say
those
it
skills.
was,
Yeah.
you're a production designer.
Right.
Until I started working as a PA in the costume department. And I started learning about all the different departments in film and TV.
Yeah.
And my first gig was on Madam Secretary. Shout out to Madam Secretary for employing me for many years. And from there, I just got to talk to all the different departments, one being the art department, and finding out exactly what do they do.
Yeah.
And knowing that I don't necessarily have to work in that field to do this, right? Because I'm learning no matter what, as long as I'm on set. I think the best way to learn something is to observe, to sit back and make calculated movements from there, right? Oh, I see that in order for them to set up this scene, they have to like, this person does this, I do that, whatever it is, you know? And so from there, I just took all those skills and then I put it all into what I do now. My first film I worked on was Wild Darling Sings the Blues. Shout out to Nova Scott, who's the director of that. Floor, who is a producer who also produced Cameron's film Harlem Fragments. And that's how I met Danielle and Cameron. And then from there, it's all about community. You just learn that you work well with people and you want to keep that up. And that's what I've learned. And through my research about many directors is once they find a good production designer or art director, you kind of stick with your camp.
They help craft the look. Like
Exactly.
a lot of people don't realize that what they identify as the aesthetic of a certain director is not just the director. It is their editor, it is their production designer, and their cinematographer. Almost always the three of them working in tandem with the director.
Yeah.
And sometimes those roles can be filled by the same person. One of my favorite filmmakers, Wong Kar-wai, he's a Hong Kong filmmaker. His production designer, William Chung, is also his editor on several films.
That makes sense.
And his costume designer sometimes.
That's fantastic because no, honestly, because it helps with the narrative, right? They always say, I think Willem Dafoe was doing an interview and he's talking about like him directing versus being an actor and being a theater actor, being a thespian. And he was just saying that at the end of the day, as long as you know what the end result is, right, then you'll be successful. And he was basically talking about like the editing part, right? Like you can go through this, but if you don't know how you want it to end, you're not going to know what your story is going to be about.
Right.
You're going to get lost in it.
Right.
And I thought that was something smart to say, because I have to think about the end result. I have to think about, what does the whole entire world of this film or theater piece look like?
Yeah.
So that the people that come into it know it, but also when the editor works with it, it's easy. So my biggest thing is continuity. I try. I mean, it irks me, y'all. It really irks me.
What irks you?
Continuity is basically when you want to make sure that everything's set up for the scene exactly how it was initially set up.
Yep.
Okay.
So
that
you saw
can-
me
yeah,
on
the
Speak
flow
Up
of
Brother.
time. Yeah, and I was gonna say, I mean, I can tell our audience exactly how detail oriented Jaleeca is. We worked on this film, which also, I have to correct myself, was not just written by Roderick. It was also co-written with Obie West and James Johnson. But I mean, my character Meek was a enjoyer of marijuana.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Jaleeca had these pre-rolls for me, and one of the things, one of the easiest examples of how continuity affects filmmaking is like, okay, we have to light this joint, but we have to make sure that we unlight it between takes, and we have to watch the length of it, because if it's shorter when we shoot an earlier moment,
You'll see it.
then people will notice.
And it's wonky.
Yeah.
Right?
Me and a friend were watching From Dusk Till Dawn yesterday.
Oh, classic.
Oh
yeah.
my God, that one is, the continuity in that movie is so weird.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's that guy, and I have a theory about this gentleman. He's just the big black guy with the cigar.
I haven't seen the movie, but
As when you just were talking about the joint thing, you know what I'm talking about? The black dude.
A homeboy from Holiday Heart. Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
with the mustache.
He passed away. R.I.P.
RP to the God.
Yeah.
He kept lighting that cigar
But it was
as if it was
always
the first
the-
time, and it's always the same length. He didn't ash. He didn't do nothing. None of these niggas in the movie reloaded their fucking gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, I
It's
have a little
just
theory.
every take is a new take. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yo, and I have a theory. I feel like that guy was supposed to be O.J. Simpson. Just from the way he looks, and around the time that movie came out.
he had an OJ look about him.
He was very OJ. Yeah, OJ.
Killer intent.
mannerisms.
O.J. Simpson face. Like, he has
OJ Simpson face affects 1 in 3 black men between the ages of 50
Some
and
killer
70.
intent,
If you or a loved
Goddamn.
one has been affected by OJ Simpson
That
face,
is
Don't drink the
hilarious.
dial this toll-free number. You may be entitled to compensation.
That is hilarious.
Side effects may cause bleeding when urination.
But that's a type of filming, though. That is a very a thing. Like, a lot of
It's
directors.
supposed to be like that?
Some don't care. Some directors really don't
They
care
don't
about
care.
continuity. They're like, no, we're gonna just get the shot.
Yeah.
All right, well,
know?
Fungul then.
But also, it depends on the actor too.
Fred Williamson, this guy.
Yes.
That was supposed to be O.J.
okay,
Simpson.
No, yeah.
Right? Am I bugging?
I can see it.
I can see it.
I haven't seen the movie, but from his face here, I can see it. And he was a football defensive back anyway, in real life.
I rest
So,
my case. I rest my
There you
case.
go. Yeah. But I think that
He's still alive.
continuity is something important, and you should try to carry it out as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
It's the through line, right? Like,
Yeah,
We're-
as much as films are an encapsulation of time,
Yeah.
and assuming you're not doing any like Christopher Nolan time weavy
Exactly.
stuff, and even he is pretty good with continuity despite
Oh.
all of that,
despite
or
okay?
because of that. But point being, yeah, you want your audience to feel that progression.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, any final questions for Jaleeca?
I don't have anything.
Well, what is... Are you laughing over me? I didn't even
Well,
I didn't,
it's the way you put your
I
phone
didn't even
down.
say. Where are the diamonds? What is your favorite song to listen to right now?
I thought you were going to say favorite
Ooh.
color, which is kind of an interesting question.
Well,
Favorite song to
we'll
listen to.
That's a hard
do
question
two.
to ask
Maybe
an
maybe
artist.
Okay.
three
Yeah, what's
rapid
your
fire. The
three?
first one,
Yeah.
favorite color.
Favorite color? Orange. And okay, not just any type of orange. It's a China orange. So it has
What's
a
a China
nice
orange?
blend between like a reddish undertone and a little bit of yellow. It has more of a reddish hue than it
Like a
has
red
yellow.
orange, like
Yes.
the fruit.
Oh, that's fire.
Not a
like
blood orange.
China orange color,
Ah.
like Pantone color.
It's hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see what I'm talking about?
I
It
know.
has more
Yeah.
red. It's a beautiful color.
Yeah, it is.
That's
Yeah.
it looks
It's
like
giving
the
Larry
color
June.
in that painting that you were
Yeah.
drawn to.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always my goal to get that color. I'm actually mixing some colors, some paints
Mm.
right now for a piece. But
Nice.
I imagine you
I
spent
want
a
that
lot of time
color.
studying color theory too,
Yes.
and what colors evoke what
Oh my
responses in the
goodness.
brain. The psychology of color is very interesting. Actually,
is.
on
It
that
is.
note, there's a video I saw on YouTube. I sent it to you. I think.
What was it?
About the psychology of color.
Oh yeah, that's
I
cool.
gotta forward that to
Send
you.
it
It's
to me.
very
I'm
interesting.
always curious about
You
it.
don't
I
want to
love
send shit
color.
to me? You
Yeah.
fucking black.
My bad. I'm
I'm
It's
sorry.
not, it's not about you. It's about you, Mr.
I'm the philosophical
Winley.
gangster, and I
Not even about Jaleeca. Jaleeca's sweet. You know what I'm saying? It's about you, goddammit.
I will
You know,
also send it
you're
to you.
very welcome. But you, sir, you didn't think I don't read? What? Back to roots.
I don't like color.
Back to roots. Huh? You think I'm one of them?
I know, right?
I'm a monkey.
I'm a jigaboo.
Real quick, Justin. I'm so sorry. I haven't asked for you to do a voice in a minute. Could you do a Frieza impression for me, please?
I don't know if I can actually do Frieza because I
Yes, you
haven't heard him in a
can.
while.
Nigga,
I
you
just
did Will Smith.
approximate what Frieza might sound like based on how he looks, monkey.
If you went to Howard University for 1 year and came back.
So favorite color, China orange.
Yeah.
Favorite song or a
Yes.
song that you've been listening to a lot recently?
So I listen to a plethora of different types of songs and
Yeah.
music, and my songs are wild. Like they jump.
Okay.
But what I will do is I will tell you my favorite artist, and I'll give you three.
Cool.
Billie Holiday,
Beautiful.
classic. I love her. Tribe Called Quest.
That
Fuego.
makes absolute sense.
Right?
That
Of
makes
course.
absolute sense.
And-
Even your artwork feels inspired by their
Yeah.
album covers.
Yes.
It was very influential for me, especially growing up. And then Clark Sisters. Classic.
Come on,
gospel.
Clark Sisters.
Yeah.
Why not?
I love the Clark Sisters.
It's my living in vain. Yes.
Yeah,
Come
they
on
can bring
now.
you onto the choir.
Hey, come on now.
Yes.
Come on.
Are you the seventh Clark sister? However many of them there are.
Listen,
18
it didn't
Clark
know.
sisters.
Listen, I grew up
and a Clark
in a lonely
brother.
town.
Yeah.
I knew my daddy was one of them. Okay.
Jude, do you have a rapid fire
A
question?
rapid fire question. All right, today's the Super Bowl, but not about who's winning.
Okay.
Fuck that.
Because I couldn't tell you. I'm sorry.
If you're watching, what's your favorite, food to eat while you're watching a game? If you do partake in watching sports.
Okay. I do like watching basketball
Okay.
if I watch it. And I would say simple Lay's potato chips. You know?
Hey, you
What
can't beat the
flavor? What's the
classics.
flavor?
Not be
Just
classic.
the
Just
plain
regular, original. Now,
Gangsta.
okay, it depends.
I have a bag waiting for me at home right now.
I know
See,
that's right.
it hits,
Yeah.
right?
When
hard.
when you want it.
When you want,
I like the
Yes,
wavy
sea salt.
joints. The
wavy
wavy
joints
ones.
are
yeah,
nice.
they collect the salt and yeah.
I remember one time.
Collects all the heart problems,
I
all the
remember,
high
I remember
cholesterol.
one time, and I gotta say this because it was about Lay's chips, the originals, and I have never, ever. Shout out to you, Bria, because you remember this story. We were on the train, and I had a bag of Lay's potato chips, it's a simple one. Every single chip had the perfect crunch, the perfect crisp, and I was like, "This is heaven right now."
Yeah.
If I
Yes.
could recreate this particular bag.
I wasn't
Every time.
wasn't even high. That's the crazy part. And I was like, "Yo,
But food does that to
Yeah.
you.
yes,
Like the perfection of food when you
Yes.
finally have it the way you should. Right?
Yes.
Not a crumbled bag of chips.
I was just sharing with someone. There
all
are
the crumbs in the bag.
one of the
Right.
most deep disappointments is when you bite into something and it doesn't taste the way that you
Oh
were
my
expecting.
God.
When you have a craving and it's not met. Listen, there have been times that I've gone to the deli. I usually get a chicken
Say the
cutlet
word.
sandwich, and if they put the wrong cheese on, there's nothing worse than American cheese when you're not expecting American cheese.
come on now."
You okay,
I
Papa?
felt
on
your
now.
hurt.
Right?
You okay?
Listen.
It's good.
I get
I
it.
see a
Don't
hairline
go
getting
back to
pushed
those
from that
times.
one.
Don't
Don't
go
do
back to
it.
those times.
You about to
You're
relive it.
here now. You're here now.
About to relive it.
Sorry,
Laws
I
of
just-
risk. Lazarus, come back.
His ancestors tapped
Or
in.
when like the
Yeah, they
lettuce
did.
ain't lettucing right, or when
not.
the chicken is stale.
The worst
This is
is
why
the
you never go-
tomato. If they give me a soggy
the
tomato,
limp,
I'm
the
pissed.
limp tomato, the like
Something
pale
about it.
tomato.
Yeah.
warm
Yeah.
tomato.
Oh,
Just a
why?
lukewarm tomato.
What in your mind thought this was right?
What made you put that
That's
on that?
my
On my
new
goddamn
insult.
sandwich.
And next time someone annoys me, I'm calling them a warm tomato.
A warm
That's a good one.
Ooh,
You
that's
know what
a
you are? A
you a
warm
That'll
warm
hit-
tomato.
that'll hit.
You're
It's
a
like-
lukewarm tomato.
Because they'll know
goddammit.
exactly what I'm floppy. I'm humid.
It's the worst.
Fucking lukewarm tomato.
That reminds me of when Eddie Murphy called someone a limp noodle in Mulan.
Which was probably a hidden erectile dysfunction joke from the writers, because people always
They
seeking
do
stuff
that.
into
It's a Disney
animation.
thing.
It is.
Yeah.
They do have like this
Just like
thing
Shrek.
about putting that in
Some
their
little-
films.
Yeah, because the
Adult
adults have to
joke.
be like,
Yeah.
"Ha," while they're
Right.
sitting there with their snot nose 5-year-old. Yeah,
What do they mean by lip noodle?
don't worry about it,
We
kid.
was I was babysitting this dude's kids once, and I was watching Shrek while the kids were asleep, and he was like, "Yo, bro, I love this movie."
Shrek is not for kids.
No, it's
not
not.
kids.
It's
It's
not for kids.
No, Shrek is like ether for Disney.
You know,
That's what it is.
I heard that it's like a conspiracy theory that
It's not a
like
conspiracy theory. It's real.
the guy
It's ether.
he got fired
Yeah,
or something.
hmm He got fired. It was a collaboration,
Yeah.
like some sort of
They were
conflict.
butting heads or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot what movies this gentleman made, but anyways, he had rap beef with Disney,
Mm-hmm.
and he went to go make DreamWorks, and Shrek was the first film that they made,
right.
Yeah.
and then
And
it turned.
it's
ether.
lampooning
Yeah.
all the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
But they were saying all the Disney people that were like doing some bullshit.
Uh-huh.
They moved them to the Shrek
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
Be thinking that it was gonna be a fucking flop and becomes one of the greatest
Yeah.
animated movies
Of
of
all
all
time.
time. And I'm like, are you
It is the
serious?
greatest one.
So great that it became a
franchise.
Broadway show.
A
And a
Broadway,
Broadway
musical.
show.
They put
Listen.
songs in this bitch,
Right.
and they're
The
gonna make
soundtrack hit though.
they're gonna make another movie coming up soon.
I need a donkey movie. But just to get back to it, we've been saying fuckwad for over 20 years.
Fuck Wad, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lord Farquaad.
And that nigga evil. For real
Yes.
evil.
Sure is.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, amazing movie by the
Yeah.
way.
That was
If you
a
haven't seen it.
phenomenal
Yeah.
I haven't watched that
Incredible
yet.
film.
I,
It's heartfelt.
I was
Yo,
laugh-
tap in,
heartfelt,
bro.
Yeah.
and I was laughing my ass
Tap
off.
in, bro.
All right,
Yes.
I'm gonna tap
Don't
in.
sleep.
I
Don't
need that
sleep.
donkey movie though.
Netflix, bitch. Netflix.
They'll
need
probably
a-
get one from him. I think they will.
I need a
That
Mushu
dog-
movie.
If Eddie is
That
like
dog with the sock
running with it.
on, yo, made me feel so bad for him. But I was cracking up by him.
I know.
He said, "You want to rub my belly?" I'm a therapy dog.
That's all distended and diseased. Nasty. Jaleeca, before we close out, please let us know anything you're working on next. Where can people keep up with you?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know.
All of us will come through.
Yeah, I'm preparing for a few things, especially in the summertime. So I have my first museum show.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's a big accolade. You know, you never realize how your goals do come true. You just got to give it some time.
I know
right?
that's right.
Um,
I need you to say it again. Just, I mean, for the audience, but for me personally. But go ahead. Though.
Yo,
Your, your
for all of
goals
us.
will come true. Just have to give it some time, and
That's my water bottle.
just it's gonna manifest.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
But yeah, I have that coming up this summer. I'm very proud, so I'm just making the work for that.
Nice.
Most of it's done, but just riding the wave of that, staying focused, and then yeah, I have some smaller projects coming up. But the best way to keep up with me right now is I just recently opened up my Etsy shop.
Okay.
Yes.
So-
I was just gonna ask, where can we cop some of your stuff?
Yeah, if you want to buy some things.
I'm already on it.
I'm slowly rolling some things out. These are kind of my generic designs, but all handmade, you know,
Do
as
you
much as they're
print anything
generic.
on clothing like T-shirts? Or?
Yeah, I might get back into it. I
Okay.
used to. The thing about being an artist / designer is that I still come from this world of like print design. That's how I studied graphic design, and knowing this world of like digital art and everything is interesting to me, right? But also, all that takes money.
Yeah.
honestly.
All the printing and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I've learned
expensive.
is that I can use all this now automated systems. It's insane. I love it. So if I do any print, it will probably be like through an automated system where I create the design and I sell it on my Etsy.
Cool. We'll definitely put that link in the show notes.
Yeah.
for sure.
And then I have a newsletter now.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, on Substack. If you don't have Substack,
I've heard
get
of it.
Substack. It's fantastic. I think it's going to slowly take over for social media, and I love it because
that's right.
it's actually about reading and about actual content that people should care about, and people sharing a little bit more than a small paragraph that they can put on underneath as a caption. You know, I love Instagram. Don't get me wrong, but I think
It's a great resource.
It's nice to further tell people what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I got going right now.
I just had I know we're trying to wrap it up, but I just had a thought. Is there any new mediums that you want to tap into? Like new ways of creating art? That's something you haven't touched yet.
Well, right now my main medium is natural dyes with like indigo, clays and things like that.
Hard.
I'm trying to become a master indigo dyer, basically.
Okay.
So my goal is to like continue. There's a whole world I still don't know about when it comes to natural dye, but pertaining to indigo. So I need to travel some more and like really learn from master indigo artists. I really want to get to Mali. Mali is known for their indigo dye, like vats and pits. They have like some of the most ancient pits in the world. Peru is pretty known for like their just natural dyeing. Also, I want to get to Malaysia. I've been before, but when I was younger. But Malaysia has a large natural dyeing and indigo dyeing community, and then also Japan. I want to get back to Japan and study under some of those greats, but mainly Africa because that's the biggest like research that I do is like based around like African, Caribbean, and American dyeing techniques. So
Very fitting for Black History Month.
I know, right? So if you don't know about it,
Now
come
you
to
know.
me.
Or come to Jaleeca.
I'll let you know.
Jaleeca, thank you so
Yeah.
much for
Thank
joining
you.
us on the show.
It's been a
It was
pleasure,
great.
y'all.
Thank you.
This was
Y'all are
really
amazing.
fun.
Yes.
Aw, thank you.
If y'all want more Uptown Love, you can peruse our back catalog on all the listening places. Stay tuned. We'll probably have another feature coming at you sometime in February. Hopefully, we'll get another Negro on here.
Damn,
Another
I know that's
spectacular, another
'Cause
spectacular
we're
black.
the best.
Wear your condoms.
Every
Right.
nigga is a star.
Is a
Sorry.
I know that's right.
Every nigga is a star.
Go get tested.
And
Give a black person some money during this month, okay?
yeah.
I know that's right. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. Bless up to Harlem's very own.
That's right.
Till next time.
No other guests shouted us out like that.
Yes.
Come on. Maybe someone has. We've
I'll
been
take
doing
the
this for a
credit.
while,
guys
but
sound
we'll give the credit to you.
That's all.